I need to tell you something I've never said in a video before, something I was genuinely ashamed of for a long time, something that felt like failure, like going backwards, like everything I'd worked for had been for nothing. After my first divorce, after my childhood sweetheart Sarah and I split up, and she moved our two boys 100 miles away, after I sat in my car outside the house I used to live in and cried until I couldn't breathe. I had nowhere to go. No savings, no safety net. I'd been married since we were kids. We had Ben and Tom together, and suddenly I wasn't coming home to them anymore. I was a part-time dad with a full-time hole in his chest. I wasn't reading them bedtime stories, so I did the one thing I swore I would never do. I called my mum and asked if I could move back in. I was 45 years old, 45, and I was moving back into my childhood home. Now, if you've ever had to do something like that, you know exactly how that feels. The shame sits in your chest like a stone. You walk through the front door and everything smells the same as it did when you were 16. Same kitchen, same carpets, same photos on the wall of a younger you who had no idea what was coming. And you think, how did I end up back here? I'll tell you what most people do in that situation. They hide. They tell their mates they're between places. They avoid anyone who might ask questions. They treat it like a prison sentence and count down the days until they can escape. And I get it, because that's exactly what I wanted to do. But here's what I actually did, and this is the part that changed everything. I stopped treating it like failure and started treating it like a launch pad. I sat down at my mum's kitchen table and I made a plan. Not a dream, not a wish, a plan, with numbers, with dates. The cold, hard maths of getting myself out of the hole I was in. I had debts, legal costs from the divorce, credit cards I'd used just to keep going. Wrote down every single penny I owed, and I mean every penny. Total made me feel physically sick, but I wrote it down anyway, because you can't fix what you won't look at. Then I made myself a promise. Every pound I earned was going toward one thing: freedom. Not a new car, not a holiday, not a night out to make myself feel better. Freedom from debt, from the past, from the version of myself that had got me into this mess. I stopped eating out completely. I walked everywhere instead of driving. I cancelled every subscription, every direct debit, every drip feed of money. I lived like a monk, not because I wanted to, because I had to. And something started to happen. The less I spent, the less I needed. The less I needed, the less stressed I felt. The less stressed I felt, the clearer I could think. And the clearer I could think, the more I started to see opportunities I've been blind to. I started a coaching business from my mum's spare room. Just me, a laptop, and a belief that I still had something to give. I'd been through a divorce that broke me, separation from my kids that nearly destroyed me, and I'd survived all of it. So I started putting content out, writing, recording, helping people for free, because I needed to prove to myself that I could actually do this. And you know what happened? People started responding, not millions, just a few. A few people who said that helped me. That made me feel less alone. And those few responses were enough. Enough to believe that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't finished yet. I lived with my mum for 2 years. 2 years of the same kitchen, the same carpets. But somewhere in those 2 years, something shifted. I stopped being the son who'd failed. I became the man who was rebuilding his life from the ground up. Completely different person. By the time I moved out, I was debt-free. Every single penny paid off. I had a coaching business that was growing. I had something I hadn't had in years. Self-respect. Not the kind you get from a job title or a paycheck. The kind you earn when you keep a promise. When you rebuild your life not with luck or shortcuts, but with discipline and time. And the willingness to start from zero. There is no shame in starting again. None. The shame is in staying stuck because you're too proud to admit you need a reset. The shame is in pretending everything's fine when it's not. The shame is in letting your ego keep you in a hole. Moving back in with my mum at 45 was not the end. It was the beginning of the best chapter. The chapter where I learned that rock bottom isn't a punishment. It's a foundation, if you're willing to build on it. I'm Scott L. Adams. This is Unlock Your Promise. If you needed to hear that, subscribe. I make videos about rebuilding, starting over, and becoming the person you were actually supposed to be. No gurus, no fluff, just what actually worked for a bloke who lost everything. Now, whatever you're embarrassed about, use it. Let it be the thing that forces you to get serious. Let it be your launch pad and get on with it.